As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Well, I'm going with OU baseball. Now they are in Game 4 of a 4-game series with Stanford right now, so we don't know the final result. But Thursday night, uh, they got it handed to them. They gave up over 20 runs, but they bounced back Friday night and got the win yesterday to take the 2-1 lead. So at least going to get out of this thing all square with Stanford 2-2. But have an opportunity to win the series 3-1. And after that opening night, did not look very good. And Stanford is a really good team, College World Series team from a year ago. They're deep, got a lot of good arms on that team. So they've been struggling a little bit. They've been, offensively, they've gone through some injuries. They've had some guys banged up. They're trying to get their pitching rotation a little more solidified. So they've had some struggles. But the fact that they've bounced back against a really good Stanford team after that opening game tells you a lot about the fight that they've got right now.
Yeah. I Skip's the man.
Yep.
He is I trust him to by the end of the season, right? When things are really on the line, I trust that team to be in a much different place than it is right now.
Yeah. They got to get healthy. That's one of the biggest things. They've got to get healthy. They've got some guys that have been banged up in and out of the lineup. And they need someone to emerge like they did last year down the stretch, from the pitching group. Like they've got to continue to get better and better. It's tough replacing some of the guys that they had to replace from a year ago. Had an incredible run, but I think they'll round into shape for sure. Future is bright for OU baseball.
I do think the trip to the championship series last year has a lot more people invested way earlier in the season in OU baseball than I can remember.
Yeah,
I'm seeing way more about it, like on my timeline and stuff. Like people, and a lot of it's frustration,
yeah,
but it doesn't it feel like people are more into it than a year ago, like way
yes,
more
for
into it.
sure. And I feel like they've had decent crowds, as long as weather and everything has cooperated. They've had good turnout at some of their home series. So yeah, hopefully that continues. They continue to get better, and hopefully they pull out this fourth game against Stanford. I think they're down right now. It was all square, and I think Stanford just put a nice little inning together, but got time to bounce back.
All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
Mike White, head coach, Texas softball. So, for those who don't know, this week leading into the series, a TV station in Austin, which is great, by the way. I think it was a TV station in Austin. They put together like this little montage of some of the players and the coaches talking about the upcoming series against Oklahoma. And in one of the clips, Mike White is talking about how Oklahoma rebuilds and says, well, some of it's not, well, I'm not going to say anything, suggesting that Oklahoma, with what they're doing rebuilding, what they've done in the transfer portal, is not on the up and up. And Oklahoma fans noticed. I thought it was hilarious that whoever was editing the clips left that part in, but they've been getting it handed to them. They had what's already a rowdy fan base, even more rowdy whenever they played that game up in OKC in front of 9,000 people. What I thought was great is after the game, and I can't believe the media let him get away with this at the time. He said he didn't call Patty Gasso a cheater. He implied it, but he didn't say she's a cheater. What is that? That's crazy.
I all I know is they they got swept. That's he did his team no favors heading into a series against the best team in the country.
Right.
What was he doing?
I don't know.
So I was at the game at Hall of Fame Stadium. I was one of the nearly 9,000 people that
Yeah.
were there to watch a regular season softball game. The the best part is like, yes, some of the stretches that Oklahoma put together at the plate during that game were awesome. But the best part of that game was every time Mike White came out to do anything, he got the absolute shit booed out of him. It was so fun. Like, I was dying laughing at it. And of course I was booing. I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody in that stadium knew, every single person. And the softball, like, there's an older crowd with the softball stuff, or at least where I was sitting, like, and they all knew. Someone had gotten in the Facebook groups and let everyone know, because he was getting booed every second he was visible. It was so funny.
Yeah, well, and this isn't like the first thing with Mike White, right? You had the Kentucky situation earlier this year where they stalled and they were losing in a game because they had that hard out time.
He had the double birds last year, which
double
was
birds last year. I mean, he's already a controversial figure, and OU fans have not liked him for a long time. So this was just kind of the icing on the cake. But yeah, they got it handed to him just like you expected they would.
Mike White had to feel like him implying that Patty Gasso is a cheater was the reason they fell apart in the bottom of the seventh. He had to be like, that's the softball gods, like, humbling me and punishing me for what I said.
Yeah.
That, or it was my rally cap that I was wearing on my couch.
Yeah, I don't know if when you have habitual line steppers like Mike White is, I don't know that those thoughts ever come back, right? I think instead it was just justification for what he said. In his mind is what I'm saying.
And for some reason, like, him saying he didn't say it was like the weakest thing I'd ever heard. But for some reason, it just sounded better because he's Australian and everything sounds awesome coming out of his mouth. So you're like, wait, what? I was distracted by the accent, but he really didn't say anything in his defense.
He said, other than the fact that he said he implied it, he didn't say that she was a cheater. And the other thing is that he ended up trying to suggest that Texas is one of the have-not programs out there.
That was
when it comes to financials.
My mind almost exploded when I heard that reasoning for, like, when he was saying OU's just in such better OU softball's in such better shape NIL wise than Texas softball. My mind almost melted my brain. I was like, what?
Yeah, well, direct that anger at your fan base, not at Patty Gasso, right? If you're in a worse situation NIL wise, then that goes back to your fans. That has nothing to do with Oklahoma.
Well, Mike White took a swing at the Queen, and we all saw what happened. Sweep, man. Get the brooms out, Patty. Let's go. All right, let's get to my winner and loser. But first,
John Vance Auto Group has been serving Oklahomans for 40 years. Family owned and operated. They got 9 full service dealerships, Woodward, Miami, and Guthrie. No matter what your vehicle needs are, John Vance Auto Group has you covered. They carry domestic brands such as Ford, Lincoln, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, and Wagoneer. John Vance Auto Group's goal is to give unequaled service and to exceed customers' expectations in every way, which is why they have their lifetime loyalty program. Here's how it works. Buy a new or used car with them. All you have to do is get the manufacturer recommended maintenance done at the Vance dealership. And if something goes wrong with any of the components of your engine, transmission, drive axle, or transfer unit, they'll cover all the repair costs. It's a great deal. You can browse their entire inventory or find the John Vance dealership near you at vanceautogroup.com.
And First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. People, make your life easier and go bank with First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. All right, for my winner of the weekend, I thought about going with Frank Solich. I loved seeing that Man, been 20 years since they fired him there at Nebraska. And I guess he hasn't been back since.
Jeez.
But Nebraska announced they'll be honoring him at their spring game. That's cool. I like seeing situations like that getting settled.
It's like they're trying to reverse the curse because
Smart by Matt Rule.
it
He's like,
hasn't
hey,
been
we need
pretty.
everyone all in. Like anyone that
Yeah,
can help this program get back to where we want it to be. We need everyone pulling in the same direction. It's like, Frank, come. You're coming
that's
back.
right.
I can't deal with this.
That's right. Yeah, it's they're trying to right all of the wrongs out there because it has not been good there. They've had, I guess, since he was fired, they had one or two moments there where it wasn't terrible, but all in all, it's kind of the nail in the coffin there, so to speak, was when they let Solich go.
Yeah. But my winner of the weekend is Caitlin Clark. And we are recording this right before the title game tips off. And I don't care what happens in that title game. She's the winner of the weekend either way. They could lose to LSU. They could beat LSU and win a national championship. But she's my winner of the weekend without even knowing what happens in that game. Because the show she put on Friday night was fantastic. She cooked South Carolina. Whoa. 41-6-8. And I feel like you look at the Final Four on the men's side, the Final Four on the women's side, there's just no doubt, Ted, she is the star of college basketball right now.
Yep, without a doubt. And really has been for a while, but with the increased visibility of the tournament, more people are being able to see what she's done. She's Steph Curry of women's basketball. She hits threes from super deep. Been doing that for a couple of years now, and they've got a really good team. I think as impressive as her shooting has always been, the wave of dismissal to the South Carolina girl hanging out at the 3-point line. Trust me,
Ooh.
I know how that feels as a basketball player whenever you've got the ball at the 3-point line and no one on the floor is even looking
Whoa,
to
hold
guard
on.
you.
You know how that feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got that treatment back in the day?
Well, I'm just saying, like, pickup basketball.
They don't respect the jumper?
No,
What?
of course not.
I can
Yep.
see you. I always envision you being like a knockdown, like set shot guy. Like you have two modes: to the rim, trying to dunk on someone, and
Yeah.
then a set shot three. Like that's how I envision your basketball game. I've never seen you play basketball though.
No, no, not a good shooter. Nope. My entire life was spent seeing how high I could touch on the backboard. Does not translate. Translates well to dunking the ball good and rebounding. Does not translate well to shooting.
Now I know. Now everyone knows.
But I know the little wave of dismissal. How about that? Was that
Oh,
crazy?
I was so confused by how South Carolina just let Caitlin Clark beat him. Like the fact that they didn't force her to give the ball up more blew my mind. And Dawn Staley's an awesome coach, but I don't think she's known for, her tactics or anything like that, her adjustments.
Yeah.
I was just stunned they allowed her pick and roll. They just switch it. They never like blitzed her. They never doubled her. Like make anyone else beat you, especially late in the game in those inbounds plays. Don't guard the ball. Double her. Make someone else catch it and hit free throws. Listen, Don Staley knows a lot more about basketball than I do. I guarantee you that. But I was on my couch going, what are they doing?
Yeah. Well, I know that it was a big enough game to where it was like, I told my wife on Friday night, I was like, oh, we got to watch this game. And she's like, what has gotten into you? Like, why are we watching this game? I was like, oh, trust me. This is something, this is must see television. It was awesome.
And then it probably didn't take her long to go, oh, yeah, that chick's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, I just I like the fact that we get to see Mulkey continue to wear some of the most outlandish. She looks like she should be in Hunger Games or something with
It's
these
amazing.
outfits.
I feel like she's just doing like she has to know how it looks. Kim Mulkey is not a stupid person. I feel like she's doing it just to troll Baylor fans.
Yeah.
Like just,
She's
oh, you guys wanted to
peacocking.
get rid of me? I'm going to wear this. What's up? It's like, but last thing on Caitlin Clark, I think Jordan Brand should sign her to a shoe deal while she's still in college. And I will be praying every day until next year's WNBA draft because she has to come back for another year with how the draft rules work right now. I will be praying every night that she somehow, some way ends up on the Dallas Wings. Just come on, baby. Come on, Caitlin Clark. She's awesome. All right, for my loser of the weekend, thought about going with the Australian Grand Prix, Ted. Just a weird ending. Weird ending. In a shocker, Verstappen wins. I know you're stunned.
Oh,
But like had two red
what's weird
flag
about that?
restarts late because of crashes. I don't know. It's just a little choppy. It's just weird. Just a weird ending.
Yeah. Well, weird or not, they tried to chop up the end to see if anyone could take a stab at Verstappen. Not happening, I guess.
No.
Crazy.
Dude's Superman in a car. Just ridiculous. But my loser of the weekend, NBA load management. NBA and NBA Players Association have reportedly agreed on a new CBA. And in that new CBA, it states that players will have to play at least 65 games to be available for the MVP and for all NBA teams. Ted, I can tell just by the smirk on your face, you are skeptical.
Well, how many guys are up for the MVP?
I would say realistically, this season it's 3,
Yeah, and I
right?
guess
Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic.
those are the guys that people are wanting to see. I think it's a good thing. Anything that they do to try and get these guys to play more of those games, I'm down for it. Even if you have to allow them to smoke weed in order to get to it.
Hey, yeah, that's part of it too.
So here's the give take, right? You got to
But
play more games, but we're no longer testing for marijuana.
yeah, but ESPN said that the 65 game minimum does come with, quote, some conditions, which I'm not sure what that means. We'll end up seeing what that means, but I do think this is a good thing for the league. It's been something that a lot of people have been discussing for a long time, right? Star players sitting out games when they're healthy enough to play. And I like them tying these types of awards to that, right? People pay a lot of money to watch these guys play. And if you are able to play, you should play. That's kind of always been my thought on it. But I'm interested to see if they attach like a minutes minimum for a game, because you could just check a guy in and then check him right back out. I think the famous one of that is, I think it was Drew Holiday. Like he needed to play in one game to hit a bonus. It's like a $200,000 bonus or something like that. And he just did the tip off, just like they just turned it over and he just left. Yeah. Just went and sat on the bench. But I don't know if there'll be any type of minutes thing tied to this, but I do think overall it's a good thing for the league.
Yeah, they're at least trying to address it. I mean, they know it's not good. And I'm actually curious to see what the future for the NBA looks like. Their television ratings are massively down, and the regional television situation that they've had for a long time that really was the explosion of the league and the contracts and the amount of money that they're making seems to be falling apart to some degree. So I'm interested to see how they shift and see if they can keep that revenue going, because that like the luxury tax and the salary cap's all tied to the revenue, and if that revenue starts to shrink, things could look really weird really quickly.
Yeah. The other thing that I think, there are a couple other things that I think will benefit the Thunder in what the new CBA looks like. I saw Woj put out that in the new CBA, they agreed to eliminate the restrictions limiting a team to 2 designated supermax players. So when you start thinking about the Thunder down the line with Shea and Chet and Jalen Williams and Giddy, that could be very beneficial. And then they also put some stuff in there that essentially does not allow the richest owners to just go insane with the luxury tax bill.
Yeah.
And that should be able to help the Thunder, because if you go too far over the luxury tax, you now are going to lose some really important stuff that you're not going to want to give up. So it seems like those things are good for Oklahoma City from just on the surface level. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, so but
Yeah.
it seems like those are positive developments for the organization.
It seems good. The load management stuff, I think that's critical for the health of the league. And we've seen what it looks like whenever star players are coming to town and they decide that they're not playing that game, they're going to be out. It just decimates the home crowds, right? And in some places they're going to come and pack it out anyways. A lot of places do, but I mean, let's be honest. If LeBron James is coming to town, there's buzz around that. If he's out, he's not going to be playing. That buzz definitely is not the same.
Yeah. So hopefully this has the intended effect that it's supposed to have.